Hello, welcome back to Caught Above the Cut. I'm with Paul Whitewick and we're on the hunt for tunnels. We're on the Leominster Canal and we're just going up to Soutnet Tunnel to see what we can find. So we're just on the hunt for the portal of the Soutnet Tunnel. We know it's around here somewhere. Very lacking in signal here, so we can't quite find exactly where we are. We found a little pen here, but we think this is a pheasant pen. So we're just going to have a little wander down here. It's pretty overgrown and see. We found this sort of the line of the canal running across. It's kind of in that direction over there, almost following the pylons here. So we think we may be somewhere close just here. So we're really stuck on this line. It feels like here. And we've got the line of trees there. We've got the little hut I mentioned just in there as well. And also just behind me here, we have what looks like a spoil heap. Now, the other interesting thing about this canal collapsed about 25 yards in from the entrance. And there's a dip here, and it's about 25 yards from where we think the entrance is. So there's a good chance this is where the tunnel's collapsed. So there's the pylon we discussed before, and this is what looks like a cut between the land. And if you look at, you can see it better further up there. But if you look at this side here, it almost looks like disturbed ground again. So we've got a feeling that we were right where we were. Tunnel ran up through there somewhere, possibly destroyed when pylons were put in, but maybe destroyed to stop people accessing, and then ran down through here.
We couldn't have been more wrong where we were. We were leaving at this point. We've been searching for around 2 hours for this portal, and we'd actually given up. We'd walked around the fields, we'd looked all through the woods, where our map suggested that the portal was, but yeah, it wasn't. So by luck more than anything, we kind of walked around this field after having sort of given up, and came around to the bottom of this field. Now we could smell something. I said to Paul as we were walking down, something stinks down here. It smells like you know, that septic sort of smell you get. And Paul kind of found this little clump of trees, and luckily we were there. Now searches after on LiDAR showed it's exactly here, but we couldn't, due to the signal, we couldn't get anything. And yeah, very, very lucky to find it. Now you can see on this tunnel here, you can see the brickwork there. The tunnel is just in an awful state. It's amazing that it's not sort of collapsed. It's peeling away at this point. The sort of main stones are still there, but that's about it. And I don't think it's going to be very long before even this portal is left just in the history books. Now this tunnel was completed in 1795, but unfortunately it collapsed that year. They were still digging each end, still digging the cuts. I think the cut was dug the other end to this, but it certainly wasn't dug this side. Unfortunately, when it collapsed, there were 2 workmen inside on their barge, and it killed them. And rumour is they're still down there now. You can see the size of this as well. If you look on that right hand side, you can see a clear line where the bricks are breaking. Now this is collapsed. You can't really see it on this. You might see it on Paul's footage better. His torch is a bit better than mine, but the collapse is just kind of on the end there. Now it's about I think it's about 20 foot in, and it kind of explains the dips we found in the field above. The land looks disturbed in several places, and it is believed that this collapsed in quite a few places as well. So I mean, this tunnel was about 3/4 of a mile long, about 1,254 yards, and the collapse of it was kind of the end of the tunnel. They'd already had lots of trouble with various things on this, but this collapsing meant they really couldn't continue. There was also supposed to be another tunnel, which we won't be covering on this video, but this was called the Pensax Tunnel, and that was a massive 3,850 yard tunnel, which is about 2¼ to 2.5 miles around that way somewhere. Now they started building the southwest portal of it, is believed, in about 100 yards of the tunnel, which was in about 1794 that started, but it was never finished, and it's never been found despite quite a few searches. The tunnel itself would have been the 3rd longest canal tunnel in the country, the Stand Edge Tunnel being the longest at 5,210 metres, with the Exploe Tunnel on the Thames in Medway being 3,595. This would have been longer than the Sapperton Tunnel, which we've covered before.
So we found it eventually. It was it's hidden away. I'm not going to give the location because I don't want to encourage people to come down here, but it's in a bad way. You can see the edges of the tunnel are collapsing. There's a fall, like we said, about sort of 25 yards in, which might line up with sort of other sort of dips we found in the ground. it puts a really weird line on this canal. It would have been across here somewhere. Now it's very hilly here, and it seems to be lower than the land surrounding it. So there were no more tunnels, as I said, so it's confusing where we were going to go with it.
Please make sure you click and follow Paul and Rebecca. They've got a fantastic channel. They cover a lot of route stuff. You'll find stuff from the Romans to canals to railways, everything in there. He loves his tunnels. He loves exploring. It's a great channel. Please do click subscribe now.
So just on the hunt for the other end of the tunnel, we come to Wharf House. Now this is what was effectively the end of the canal here. The mines to Mamble were up in the hills in that direction, and the wharf was just down here. The tunnel came in just before the wharf. I believe this may have been connected or almost connected. I know they were still digging the cut on either side, which is possibly why the workmen were in there. I imagine the fact that they were in a barge would mean that maybe this end was done and they were carrying spoil back through or something like that. So we have what I think is the start of the canal here. So you can see just over here, there's a stream that runs down through. You've got a bit of sort of stonework there. Now the entrance to the tunnel was here somewhere. No one really knows exactly where it is. You can see just behind the house there, the hill sort of goes up. So in this area it's the best guess. It's never been found. It's probably sat underneath someone's under the house or under the garden. Potentially looking at where the house is, it probably is underneath the house. So we're on the hunt for Newham Tunnel now. Now we know the portal is visible on the other side, but we're not too sure about this, and we've just been following the footpath. And Paul has made a very good spot. You could just see this embankment just through the trees, and Paul's now stood in the canal. So we're hoping we might find the other portal.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it, if we can?
Yeah. So here we are. It's the canal bed running through, and what would have been the other portal. No sign of it now. It's obviously collapsed or been filled in at some point. But the line is obviously directing it right to here. Just having a little look to see if we can see any brickwork, any signs whatsoever that was here. I can't even see wing walls or waiting walls or anything, to be honest with you. Like I say, it's a very short tunnel, so there probably wasn't much in the way of waiting, you know. It wasn't 2 miles long like some of the tunnels were. So we're already at the other portal. Like I said, information is very lax about this. We couldn't find anything. So I think the 330 yards I said is actually rubbish. I don't know. 100 yards?
Yeah.
It's not even that. It almost feels pointless to tunnel it. Paul's down now, getting some shots. But yeah, this is, I'm not sure if this is a portal or if this was a collapse and it maybe ran a bit further, but it is an incredibly short tunnel. Alright, so here we are. So this is caged off for bats. Paul said he could see some monitoring equipment when he was down there. I'm going to stick my camera in. Now, one thing I do now know about this tunnel was it was actually a cut and cover. So it wasn't on the original parliamentary application because it's so short. But they decided for some reason or another to cut and cover it. So what, if you don't know what that is, basically they dig a big ditch where a canal's going to go. So they take the entire hillside out, right away from end to end. They will do everything they need to do. They'll build an arch, and they will then just cover it back over again so the hill was back to where it was originally. So the rumour has it, you can actually, if you're inside the tunnel, you can see a slight light right at the other end. So where we were originally, there is something of a portal still there, but again, I think it's collapsed. You can see the bat monitoring equipment here, and this is actually caged off, so you can't get down there. The drone footage just shows you can just make out the portal there by the sort of tree there just right now. So, carrying on walking down the line now away from the portal of Newham Tunnel, and we're going to head over now towards Pelfield Tunnel. That was a 330 yard, I reckon. That one was 330.
I'm just using your content, Steve. Just
hello.
Yeah, just voice over today.
So our final visit today takes us to the Pelfield Tunnel. This was the 330 yard tunnel. So again, not a huge tunnel, but I think this is a bit of a joke after the last one. I think I found it already. There we go. There she is. While I got your attention, please do click the like and subscribe, click the bell button. Also, just below there, you see a join button. If you're already subscribed, there's a join button where you can join up to become a member of the channel. There's a few options there, so please do have a look. So this tunnel was one of the many failures of this canal. And the biggest problem was Dad really didn't understand the geology of the land here. I mean, it was in a day when it was slightly less understood. Look at that, it's incredible. You can almost see the bend in it. So what happened when they were digging it? It was clay to start with, and they were doing very well through the tunnel. Nice and easy to dig out. And then suddenly they hit sand. And the sand was what they called running sand. It just kept on coming and coming and coming until it backfilled the tunnel where they were working. So they had to make a plan B basically. And eventually, after advice, they dug a tunnel from the side of the tunnel, going in the opposite direction, going away from the side of the tunnel, and they used that to drain the water out the hill. The water table here was the biggest problem they had with it. But there's a basically halfway down here, just not quite halfway. There was one shaft on this tunnel, construction shaft. That was it, and it's collapsed at that point there. Now they don't know whether that was a planned explosion in World War II for training, or whether it's collapsed under its own weight. But it is a very, very interesting tunnel. Now the portals are quite tall on this, and this doesn't appear that tall, so I think we're probably quite deep in silt. I just stood over there, just in that spot there, and my whole foot went immediately. So it is very, very wet here. Don't try and attempt to come down here. There are these planks here, but I wouldn't trust my weight on those. I'm stood on the end of it. Now we can't get to the other portal. Apparently there's a shotgun friendly farmer there, so I don't really want to go near there. But as you can see, this is the old line. So when the canal eventually opened in 1796, this was pretty much the last bit, stopping the boats from running down. And on the first day, they managed to get, I think it was 14 boatloads through here from the wharf up in near Mamble. And overnight, it halved the price of the coal in Leominster. And the first of the 14 boats was given to the poor. Thoughts went to cutting this rather than tunneling it. As you can tell by 330 yards, it's quite a short tunnel. But Rennie suggested, after it was sort of done and he surveyed it, that it could save the canal company quite a significant amount of money. So we'll leave this one here. I hope you enjoyed the tunnels. Have a great day.